Things aren't looking good for Chris Hansen, who recently was charged with harassment. Now, we'll take a look at all this more in just a second, but I want to kind of catch us up on things because I haven't really been covering the Onision story recently, and up until today, I had no plans to come back. Although this isn't really an Onision-related case, more so with Hansen, it was interesting enough for me to take a look at for today, so we'll be doing just that. Now, I gotta be real, from a business perspective, it doesn't make sense for me not to be covering Onision like I was in January, as my most viewed videos are Onision-related now. But believe it or not, I'm not a complete sellout. The reason why I haven't been covering Onision is because of two reasons. Number one, of the crowd it attracts. Now, I'm not saying that everybody who's obsessed with this story is a bad person, but I have seen instances where people who ask questions to the victims, respectfully or not, are treated with allegations of being a doxer and a predator. For example, when Sarah mentioned that she needed money for a laptop, my friend Nick DiOrio smelled a fishy situation and asked Sarah why she needed the money. While Sarah was respectful, her counterpart Shiloh was not. And no, being a victim does not mean you get to accuse my friend of being a predator and a doxer, both of which are surprisingly untrue. Who would have thought? Because of Shiloh's recent rampage against YouTubers like Nick DiOrio and even Edwin's Generation, who's a guy that I was recently made familiar with as he's been covering the Onision case a lot, and he covered the Shiloh story, and Shiloh went at him and backstabbed and slandered him, I figured a while ago that it was time to pack the bags and move on to other ventures. I don't want to be hanging out with a crowd that could turn on me at any moment. And I saw people keep saying, well, Augie, keep up the fight. We must stop Onision. I hate to break it to you, but me doing YouTube videos does not stop Onision. And as a matter of fact, it's going to be very hard to stop Onision due to the lack of evidence against him. We know he's a groomer, but that's not against US law. And all other accusations against Onision do not have proof to back them up. The best possible case I've seen against Onision is rather against Kai for sending illicit images to a minor. But even that is going to be hard to present to a court without evidence. My buddy John's one over here did a fantastic video talking about why Onision will not go to jail. This is not news that me or John presents happily. We're not glad about this, but we're just being realists here and acknowledging that it's not as simple as just pointing out, hey, Onision's a bad person, lock him up. The fact of the matter is that this guy is probably going to roam free and there's nothing we can do about it, which is terrible. I've been very positive towards Chris Hansen, but I've also been very negative to him in the past as well, I've had a very back and forth opinion of him. Some of the people he associates, like Mike Morris and definitely Vincent Nicotra, have not been the best people, especially Vincent, but Mike Morris, as I found out a month ago, has a pending sexual assault allegation against him. And although this could be false, he's probably not the best guy to be working with in a case aimed at taking down a predator. Here's a tweet from Pescator criticizing a move Hansen made about a week ago. In an attempt to squeeze every drop of clout and cash from the Onision grift, Chris Hansen appears to scrape the barrel to bring on a 900 follower Twitter user and Mr. Repsion, probably because without Repsion, the search engine optimization would be shit. Not one word about anything relevant that happened this week. Shiloh, Nick, of course referencing Shiloh's campaign against Nick DiOrio. What he's criticizing here is the fact that Onision is doing show after show every week, not presenting new information or an update to the case, but rather bringing on any person he can to talk about the things that we already know, which basically just boils down to Onision bad. Many have questioned Chris Hansen's motives and have wondered if he's just in this for money or if he's just in this for the grift, which I gotta be honest with you, is probably true. But if he's doing good for the case and advancing things and seeing that justice be served, then good for him. He can make all the money he wants, but is that really happening? Well, now it would appear that Chris Hansen has been charged with harassment communication in manner to cause alarm in New Jersey Municipal Court. When asked for comment, Hansen said he knew nothing about it. More details on the way. And yeah, that would be true. At least Hansen's not made any comments about this on his social media, or rather his Twitter page. Let's take a closer look. This is from The People. To catch a predator is Chris Hansen charged with harassment. Chris Hansen has not yet entered a plea and is due in court on March 24th. Now, when is March 24th? Well, that would be about less than 3 weeks from now. Chris Hansen, former host of To Catch a Predator, had another run-in with the law last week. Hansen was charged with harassment, communication in manner to cause alarm on February 28th in Hoboken, New Jersey, according to court documents obtained by The People. While details on the incident are unclear, the court documents list a civilian as the complainant and note the offense date as February 5th. Hansen has not yet entered a plea and is due in court on March 24th. A rep for Hansen did not immediately return people's request for comment. The incident comes less than 2 months after Hansen was arrested and charged with issuing bad checks, which a lot of people are now aware of. According to police, in the summer of 2017, Hansen ordered several promotional items including t-shirts, mugs, and decals from a local community for upcoming marketing events. Hansen was given a bill and agreed to pay for the items in full before they were delivered, but the check he issued nearly 3 months after receiving an invoice bounced, police said. The owner of the vendor reached out to Hansen, but after television host wrote a second check in 2018 that also bounced, the owner contacted the police. When investigators contacted Hansen, he refused to speak on the issue, police said. A warrant was issued for his arrest. Also in January, Hansen was evicted from his home in New York City amid his ongoing divorce from wife Mary Joan, according to court records. Not good news. Now, this journalist reporting this story has caused a Twitter user to come up with wild conspiracy theories that Nick DiOrio and Josh Pescatore are all working together with the journalist to help Greg? I don't know. Here's a tweet from DiOrio where he shows all the tweets from this person. These tweets have now been deleted, but this person was basically saying, I think that the Newsweek journalist Stephen Asark is working with Josh Pescatore and Nicholas DiOrio. It would explain why Stephen is bending over backwards to discredit Chris Hansen, I believe. What do you mean discredit? You mean report factual information? This user commented on the journalist reporting the story by saying, you're only helping Onision here, which is, no, they're not. Journalist asks, explain the logic to me, please. And then that Twitter user shows that Nick DiOrio and Josh Pescatore hit like on the journalist's reply, meaning that they must all be secretly working together to help Greg and to bash Chris Hansen, all for the motive of protecting the groomer. Obviously, that's not what's happening at all. None of that's even true. But it just goes to show why I backed out of the story. It's because the people that follow this and associate with this are all crazy. And if you don't perfectly line up with them and say exactly what they want to hear, they will accuse you of all sorts of things that are just blatantly untrue. Happened to a buddy of mine, and it's not going to happen to me. I'm out. Hopefully something negative happens to Onision and he's forced to pay for the crimes that he has committed. Maybe not the legal crimes, but the moral crimes nonetheless. But I gotta be real with you. If we're all looking towards Chris Hansen to be the savior, to be the guy in charge, the big man on campus who's going to take this guy out, I don't know if this is necessarily the right guy to be handling these types of issues. That's just my thoughts though. Maybe I'm being too negative. Let me know in the comments below. Hit like on the video if you enjoyed. Follow me on Twitch at twitch.tv/AugieRFC and on Twitter under the same handle. And I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.